Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. Sorry this video is a bit later than usual. I was sick for a little bit and then my laptop decided to die and I only just got it back from repair, so I'm now trying to catch up with the backlog. So I'm back for another Roscoe's recap, and this is a combined video where I'll be talking about the viewing parties for season 18 episodes 11 and 12. Today we're going to be talking about Nini Coco reveals an off-camera moment with Kenya Pleaser, which is why the Queen said that Nini cannot read the room. Discord Addams calls out Law Roach for his mean critiques. And Discord also addresses some disgusting comments that people made about the makeover guest who passed away. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Also, there's a lot that I cut out of these videos as well as my other videos because I don't want them to get really long, but if you want to see the extra tea that I left out, make sure you check out my Patreon where I post exclusive content, and it also does help to support the channel, and I'll leave a link to my Patreon in the description. So we're going to start with the viewing party for episode 11, and the guest that week was Myki Meeks. So they started off talking about the episode, which was the roast of Alyssa Edwards. But before they got into the roast, Caramel mentioned that the episode felt like a callback to season 5 because they turned the perfume mini challenge from season 5 into this week's mini challenge, and they also had Alyssa as the subject of the roast, who is also from season 5. Myki then revealed some behind the scenes tea about the mini challenge. She said they actually already had specific fragrances that they wanted to pick in advance, and they had to go back and film that section. But during the filming, Jane grabbed the fragrance that Myki wanted and was holding it the entire time. So Myki said she just kept asking Jane for it and said, quote, "Jane, I really think I like that one. You're holding it. Can I get that one, please?" But Jane would not let go of it. Cara then asked if they got into full drag for the mini challenge because they all looked fully beat and it didn't look like quick drag. Myki confirmed that they did have to film this properly and it was a very long day. Naysha then brought up that Myki did not win the Snatch Game a few episodes ago, which surprised her, and asked how Myki felt about it. Myki said she knew she did really well in Snatch Game, but joked that it was her, quote, Olivia Newton-John character pumps for the runway that cost her the win. But Myki said even though she didn't win Snatch Game, she got to be on the Drew Barrymore show as a result of it, so she feels like she ultimately won. And for those of you who don't know, Myki did a guest appearance recently on the Drew Barrymore show where she did her impersonation of Drew in front of her.
Hi everyone, it's me, Drew.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
It's me, Drew. I mean, Myki, Drew.
It's like looking in a mirror.
No, it actually really is.
I know.
Myki said the Drew Barrymore show was amazing and Drew is just like she is on TV. She also joked that Drew is only about 5'3", which made Myki feel, quote, statuesque. Myki added that the promo video for her guest appearance on the show was also released the same day they shot it, so they turned it around really fast. Naysha then brought up the Rate a Queen drama from a while back when they did the talent show, because the queens had to rate each other and Myki ended up in the bottom. Naysha asked if Myki had a feeling it was going to happen like that when she started hearing how people were coupling up and strategizing. Myki said she had no idea there were alliances the way that there were, but she did kind of guess that the Dions would help each other out. But for her group, Myki said she did think she was going to be near the bottom because her wig had kind of, quote, collapsed a little bit during the performance. She said it still worked out for the number because she was getting disheveled from the striptease, but it was just playing over and over again in her head. So when the results came out that she was in the bottom, Myki said she's her own worst enemy, so at times she thought that she probably deserved it. They then moved on to the Q&A and someone asked, what's the hardest part of getting on Drag Race? Is it the auditioning and getting your package together? Or is it being on set and doing the challenges? Myki said the audition tape is very difficult, and this was actually her 4th time auditioning, so she knew she had to give a strong point of view. In terms of getting her drag package together, Myki said it was so difficult, and she didn't have the same resources as some of the other girls did, and for example, the orange runway we saw in this week's episode, she made the base for that outfit herself, and then the cape was made by Trinity the Tuck and one of her designers. There was another audience question, which was how long it took Myki to decide what her entrance line was going to be, because Myki's entrance line was, quote, "Hi, I'm Myki, but you can call me Myki." Myki shared that that entrance line was actually her backup. Her original plan that she was going to walk out with the word hi written on her hand. She would then walk in, pretend that she had forgotten her words, look down at her hand to remind herself, and then just say hi. But apparently one of the directors came into her room before she filmed her entrance and said, quote, "Hey, Myki." So Myki decided to go with her backup entrance line, which said her name, because people apparently get her name wrong all the time. Another audience member asked, what was a moment behind the scenes that made Myki think, oh crap? Myki explained when she did her workroom entrance, she realised that she was the last to walk in. She had been waiting in the holding trailer for about an hour and 45 minutes, and when she finally walked out and saw the other queens, she jokingly thought to herself, quote, "Oh, they put me last. Oh, I'm winning." Myki also revealed that the first runway is actually the queen's first time on the stage and they do not get to rehearse the runway. Naysha asked if they walked more than once and Myki said yes. They usually walk twice, once with music and once without, but sometimes they don't have enough time to do it twice. And for example, when Myki did the billboard look with her leg on it, they only had time to do the runway once, and it was also done in silence. So she said, imagine walking out with that outfit and getting out of it in total silence, and she joked that it was really awkward. Caramel then asked about the lip sync that week and the wind machines. She wanted to know if it was production's idea to have the wind machines or if the queens requested them. Myki said it was all production. She thinks they wanted to have fun and make an impact for the lip sync, but the queens did not know the fans were going to be there until right before the lip sync. An audience member then brought up that at Myki's viewing party that she does in Orlando, she had gone on a bit of a rant a while ago about made-up Snatch Game characters, and the video got some traction on social media.
Snatch Game is a challenge on celebrity impression. That is the essence of the challenge. I cannot stand when queens from any season do a made-up character. I think that is avoiding the challenge, and you are just trying. I mean, obviously, I felt confident with what I was doing. If I didn't feel confident, maybe I would do that. But I think that is a silly excuse. Celebrity illusion and impression is a core drag skill. Yes. We all need to have one.
So the question for Myki was, besides Athena's, which other made-up Snatch Game character has annoyed her the most? Myki joked that maybe the drinks were hitting her a bit hard when she said that, but she said she really can't stand it when queens do made-up characters on Snatch Game because she thinks it's kind of getting around the challenge. Myki then said the most offensive made-up character to her was Arietti's baby Cupid from last season. However, Myki did add that made-up characters can be funny, and she thought Jules Sparkle's Bigfoot was really great because she added her own point of view to it. But her argument is that there are so many celebrities out there, and if you're putting that much energy and research into a made-up character, why can't you just apply that to a real celebrity instead? Okay, so now let's move on to the viewing party for episode 12, and the guests that week were Darlene Mitchell and Nini Coco. They started off by congratulating Darlene on her roast win from last week. Naysha asked at what point during the roast did Darlene decide to start pulling things out of her bag of props. Darlene explained that at the table read, she hadn't even decided she was going to do the bag of tricks. She realised her material was kind of falling flat, so the night before she rewrote a lot of it, and Jane Don't told her, quote, "Just swing big, girl, now's the time, swing big." So at the last minute, Darlene hot glued together that little purse that she used to put all of her props in. But even then, Darlene still had not made the final decision as to whether she was going to use the props until she actually walked up to the podium. She put the bag down, and her first couple of jokes she said were, quote, crickets. So in real time, she just decided, quote, pedal to the metal, and just started pulling things out and being silly. Darlene said the more she leaned in, the more of a reaction she was getting. Ru was apparently, quote, smacking the desk, and she could also see in the dark that even the camera operators were laughing, so she just kept going. Nini then added that she was the one who had to go on right after Darlene, and when Darlene was done, it was like a, quote, war zone of props, and there was ripped paper and plastic everywhere. Darlene explained they didn't show everything in the edit, but every joke she had was written on a separate card, and she was throwing them everywhere. Some of them she threw forward, some of them she threw at the girls, so there was just stuff everywhere. Cara then gave Darlene her props for getting a win that late in the competition because it usually doesn't happen that often. She also brought up that both Myki and Jane had mentioned that Darlene brought a lot of props and supplies to the competition and asked if Darlene was just helping all of the other girls out. Darlene said every time someone needed something, whether it was a wig or any sort of prop, everyone would just stroll past her station. So Darlene joked, quote, y'all want to give me bleep every week, but when y'all need something, here you come. Nini added that for this week's mini challenge, the wigs that the queens were wearing were all Darlene's wigs. Darlene said she only had about 5 styled wigs with her in the competition, but she probably had upwards of 20 unstyled wigs, which she called, quote, make it work wigs, and the others joked that they were, quote, shake and go wigs that had a total value of $100, and everyone laughed. Naysha then referred back to when they first came into the competition and asked about their first impressions and which queen they thought was going to be their biggest competition. Darlene said she thought it was Athena Dion because she's been doing drag for so long and is well known, and she also joked that Athena is very old. Nini agreed and said she had also heard of Athena before the competition because she's well known in the drag community. But Nini then revealed something interesting. She said after the first mini challenge, which was where the queens had to scream and do a photo shoot, Nini and Athena were waiting backstage together at one point, and Athena asked Nini, quote, so did Ru ask you about your inner saboteur? Nini said no, and said in that moment she knew that Athena was, quote, not a threat, because Athena was already spiraling within the first 10 minutes of the competition, so Nini said to herself, quote, okay, we're good with Athena, and everyone laughed and said that Nini is so shady. Cara then brought up that throughout the competition, some of the other queens have said that Nini sometimes doesn't know how to read the room when she's being shady and comes across as too harsh, and she asked Nini how she felt about it. Nini explained she thinks the issue is when she would read the other queens, it felt like she was backstage at a drag show, but she was used to being backstage with people that she'd known for years. So when you call those people, quote, fat and ugly, they know that you still love them. But with the Drag Race cast, she hadn't done the work to build those relationships first, so the reads didn't always land the same way. There was then a VIP question related to this which asked, what did we not see that earned Nini the title of, quote, reads too much? Because they felt that in the episode, it didn't seem like Nini was actually throwing that much shade. Nini said there was a moment off camera, they were back in the accommodation after a long day, and Kenya Pleaser was telling a story about someone who had once come up to her at a show, and they called her things like, quote, fat and ugly and a string of middle school bully insults. And Nini's response was, quote, well, did she lie? Nini said of course she thought the person was wrong, but in that moment she just meant it as a joke. Darlene then explained that what didn't really make it to camera is that it sort of became a running joke after that, and no matter what Nini said, they would always overreact. For example, Nini would just walk into the room and say hi, and the others would say, quote, Nini, put it down. They then watched the judges' critiques for this week, and Cara brought up that in Michelle's critiques, she said that she understood Darlene's makeover storyline the longer that she was on stage. So Cara asked Nini if she thought it was fair that Michelle didn't give Nini the same grace when it came to her concept. Nini replied saying, quote, "Yeah, must be nice," and everyone laughed. Nini added that they all talked about this and they've seen the makeover challenge critiques over the years and they can be a bit, quote, all over the place. So at that point, Nini just doubled down and decided that she was going to stand by what she brought because the critiques can go either way. They also briefly mentioned Law Roach's critiques, which some people felt were quite harsh. And I did see a bit of tea about this that happened outside of Roscoe's. After this week's episode came out, I saw that Discord Addams did an interview with Joey Nolfi of Entertainment Weekly, which I'll link to in the description, and Discord called out Law's critiques. In the interview, Discord was asked what she thought about Law's harsh critiques, and Discord said, quote, "I feel like I don't take people seriously who dress billionaires for their day job. What Law Roach thinks about me and my sisters meant nothing to me. Even in the past episodes when he gave me positive critiques, I didn't care because he's so nasty to my sisters otherwise. I think he speaks in rage bait, clickbait words for views and attention. To me, none of it comes across as genuine, helpful or positive critique. None of it mattered. This isn't Law Roach's Drag Race. You can say nasty things all you want, but those aren't helping any of us grow. They're just nasty for the sake of nasty." This clip of Discord saying this in the interview was then shared on social media, and it seems that a few Drag Race queens commented on it. For example, Trinity K. Bonet commented saying, "Girl, it should all matter to you, trust me." Another queen who commented was Silky Nutmeg Ganache, who said, "There are nasty regular judges, so what's the difference?" Silky then replied to someone and said, "Anya took it last season and went on to win the season. Get tough and move on. Queens aren't booked and replaced by straight people at prides. Talk about that." I also found a screenshot on the RPDR drama subreddit where it looks like Ongina commented and seemingly agreed with Silky. Silky then commented saying, "He's not palm covered or light skinner-do. If he was a white queen or celebrity who was dragging them the same way, they'd have nothing to say." And people in the comments criticised Silky for bringing race into it. And I couldn't find this comment on Instagram, so it looks like Silky may have deleted it, which is why I used the screenshot from Reddit. Going back to Roscoe's, and they took a moment to acknowledge that sadly one of the cowboys, Terry, who was Jane's partner in the makeover challenge, had passed away, and they showed a tribute to him at the end of the episode, and they all sent their love. I did also see that something unfortunate happened to do with this on social media outside of the show. So after the episode came out, people were giving tributes to Terry, who passed away in December 2025, meaning that he never saw the episode before it aired, and people were saying how sweet Terry was. People also shared that a funeral home had an online obituary for Terry, where people could leave comments with memories about Terry. However, unfortunately, it appears that some people from the Drag Race audience started commenting inappropriate things on Terry's obituary, with comments saying things like Discord was robbed, as well as other things. A Twitter user took screenshots of these comments and tagged Discord in a post, asking Discord to respond to her, quote, sick fans who were spewing hatred and disrespect. Discord retweeted this and said, "What is genuinely wrong with y'all in this fandom to go F around on this beautiful man's obituary? You are not my fan if you are doing this. You need to look inward and see what is wrong in your soul to be doing this. Remove me now if this is how you want to act." Discord also did a follow-up tweet saying, "I literally shouldn't have to say, don't send hate on a beautiful man's obituary, but the quote fans have truly outdone themselves with how effed up they can be. Knock it the F off. That's not effing normal. Get help, get therapy, what the F." There were also some even more nasty comments, unfortunately. It appears that a rumour started spreading online that Terry took his own life after someone commented on his obituary, implying that he may have taken his own life because of Drag Race. However, from what I could find, this rumour is totally unverified, and Terry's cause of death has not been confirmed, and it's also none of our business. However, presumably the same person who left that comment on the obituary then commented on Discord's tweet and said the same thing. Discord retweeted this and said, "Why the F would you also post this on his obituary? I hope you sincerely look deep within yourself and ask some serious questions." And the comments all agreed and said how messed up this person is. And as I always say in my videos, please do not send hate to the queens or the guest stars, and this type of behaviour is really not okay, and is frankly kind of disgusting, so please do not ever do this. So there you go, there was the Roscoe's recap for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18, Episodes 11 and 12. What did you think of the roast and makeover challenges? And who do you predict will be the winner of Season 18? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to watch my videos before they go on YouTube, as well as see the things that I cut out of my Roscoe's recaps, as well as other exclusive content, please check out my Patreon. It just costs a few dollars a month and it really does help support the channel, and I'll put a link to my Patreon in the description. I'd also like to say thank you so much to all of my amazing Patreon members. I really do pinch myself all the time thinking about how lucky I am to have all of you supporting me, and it really does make a huge difference to the channel, so thank you all so much. Please make sure you like and comment on this video to help boost it in the algorithm and promote it to more people. And please make sure you subscribe. It's free, it only takes 2 seconds, and it really does make a big difference to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me in the future for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. Thank you so much. Bye.